Hey guys, Alex from 7th Hour Films, here again. No, here for the first time, I guess. House of the Dragon. We're watching House of the Dragon. As some of you guys know, one of my early reaction series was Game of Thrones. I still have the DVDs, somewhere. They're somewhere in here. But I do have all the DVDs. That's how I got into Game of Thrones. I bought the first 7 seasons as a pack, and I watched through them all, and it was, for the most part, like 95% a good time. I really enjoyed Game of Thrones. Again, about 95% of it. Namely, the first 95% of it. If you guys have seen my Game of Thrones reactions, specifically my reactions to Season 8, you'll probably think that, well, last time when I left it, and this was 2019 when we finished up Game of Thrones, basically, I left it on a note of, alright, yeah, I wasn't too excited, but I wasn't really too pissed about it. I was just like, yep, that... Good enough. Since then, I have grown to actively hate the end of Game of Thrones, pretty much like everybody else, you know? The same thing actually happened to me with Star Wars Episode 9, so it's like, at first, it was alright, but the more I think about it, the more I hate it, so, yeah. Luckily, this is like completely brand new people, ain't it? Like, obviously, this is a prequel, so it's an entirely new cast, and I'm pretty sure it's like new writers, new showrunners, new everything, so yeah, I don't know. Maybe they'll pull it off, I don't know. But I mean, like, honestly, it really is just those last 3 episodes, and while it doesn't ruin Game of Thrones, it's just not a great ending, basically. That's kind of where I'm left with it. It's not a good ending. But the rest of Game of Thrones I thought was pretty solid, so yeah. Now before we get into this, I should say that I'm kind of flying blind on this one. So, I know the basic premise of this, and it's right here on HBO Max, that this is 200 years before the events of Game of Thrones, and this tells the story of House Targaryen. I know we're going to be focusing on the Targaryens in this show. I know that I think the main Targaryen, or at least one of the Targaryens, is played by Matt Smith, and I love Matt Smith, so, hey, you know, he's great as the Doctor. He was hilarious in Morbius, and anything else Matt Smith is in. I guess I haven't seen too much. Boy, when you have to cite Morbius, that's not a good thing, but whatever. Anyway, what I'm saying is, I like Matt Smith, and I think he'll be pretty good in this. But yeah, I haven't seen a trailer for this. Like, I don't know why, like, I just avoided the trailers. So, yeah, I really don't know what we're going to be doing in this one. So, yeah, I'm at least for me, I'm really flying blind. And I probably said in my last Game of Thrones reaction that I was going to read the books. I haven't read the books. I have not read any of those friggin' books. I did actually want to read Fire and Blood, which I believe this is based on, if it's the story of House Targaryen. But, yeah, I don't know. But House Targaryen, that should be pretty fun. I mean, and I've got my House Stark, House Targaryen Game of Thrones shirt on, so there's something. I don't know if the Starks are going to show up in this or not. Maybe they will. But, yeah, House Targaryen, I like them. Again, if you have seen my Game of Thrones reactions, you know. But if you haven't, I'll go ahead and say that Daenerys was actually my favorite character in Game of Thrones, which is why the more I think about the last 3 episodes of Game of Thrones, the angrier I get about it. Because, boy, does that just take a crap all over my favorite character from Game of Thrones. So, yeah. Anywho, how about we not dawdle too much anymore? Real quick, though, I will say that this is the first episode of the season, of the series, actually, and what I like to do on the first episode is I like to do the full-length reaction for free. So basically, on every single reaction that I do, pretty much, I have a full, unedited version available over at my Patreon page. But for the first episode of a season, I make the episode available for free. So if you want to watch my full, unedited reaction to this episode of House of the Dragon, what you gotta do is head down in the description or into the pinned comment, click on the link there. It literally just says, watch the full-length reaction here. You click on that link, it does take you over to my Patreon page, but remember, this is free. This is a completely free thing on my Patreon page. Now, there's no show footage. And before anybody questions why I don't put show footage, remember that there are things called the law. So I can't give you show footage. But it's pretty simple to do it. So what you gotta do is sync up your copy of this episode of House of the Dragon to my footage. It's pretty simple. I'm watching this on HBO Max, so I imagine most of you are watching this on HBO Max. So literally all you have to do is hit play on the full-length video. There'll be a countdown, and at the end of the countdown, you hit play on House of the Dragon, and they should play pretty in sync. Maybe a slight margin of error, but pretty in sync, and it should be all good. And there'll be a timer there, so if you pause it and you want to pick it up later, you can also just come back to it, and it's all good. So yeah, you can do that. Or not. If you don't want to do any of that, that's entirely fine. You just sit here on the YouTube video for 3 more seconds, and the edited video, the edited reaction with show footage will start up. But yeah. So yeah, you can do that, and if you like that, you can also sign up for full length, full time, which also gives you 1 week early access. Except on House of the Dragon because this is a current show, but everything else gets you 1 week early access, so yeah. Anywho, with all of that being said, let's just jump right into Season 1, Episode 1 of House of the Dragon. Here we go.
Princess Rhaenys Targaryen, the king's eldest descendant, and her younger cousin, Prince Viserys Targaryen, the king's eldest male descendant.
Viserys? Oh, the Targaryens reuse names a lot. Those are words.
Rhaenys, a woman, would not inherit the Iron Throne.
So,
the
wait.
The lords instead chose Viserys. My father.
It is now the 9th year of King Viserys I Targaryen's reign, 172 years before the death of the Mad King Aerys and the birth of Princess... Okay, thank you. 172 years before the birth of Daenerys Targaryen. You could have just said that. Why did you have text and a narrator? Hold on. I can't be critiquing this already. Damn.
Welcome back, Princess. I trust your ride was pleasant.
Try not to look too relieved, sir.
I am relieved. Every time that golden beast brings you back
is that friend?
unspoiled,
Is that Graham
seems my head from a
McTavish?
spike.
Yeah, it is. I recognize him a mile away now. Yo, did they find, like, the one girl who looks exactly like Emilia Clarke?
Ah, Rhaenyra.
Rhaenyra.
You know I don't like you to go flying while I'm in this condition.
You
Okay.
don't like me to go flying when you're in any condition.
Ugh. There's that friggin' chair.
Sparo trivo se gauma kepus.
Nuoso dime, que si nuos demigos medlarios.
Dochem talit nut stati lux daor.
Is that Matt Smith?
Sin drasma.
Are there more swords?
Que poi ua uno sud cotion tradila rupta.
Kotio terranno sit isa.
No.
Exie ultratan.
Terranno zucho ario sit.
E ua amuno tresi sico si agevo. Ergoti sperio.
Na se pavron qui jalina.
No.
E poi something.
Oh. Yeah, it's good to see him again.
It's a small cut from sitting the throne. It's nothing.
He got cut on the Iron Throne.
This child is a boy, Emma. Yeah. I'm certain of it. I've never been more certain of anything.
They ain't getting a boy, are they? And the conflict will be Rhaenyra and Daemon.
I've lost one babe in the cradle, had 2 stillbirths and 2 pregnancies ended well before their term. That's 5 in twice as many years. I know it is my duty to provide you an heir. And I'm sorry if I have failed you in that I am. But I've mourned all the dead children I can.
That's interesting. Because I was kind of thinking, like, well, if you gotta have a son, seemed to have taken you long enough, but yeah, I guess there's your explanation. I'm glad they have that explanation.
Crime of every breed has been allowed to thrive. No longer. Beginning tonight, King's Landing will learn to fear the color gold.
Oh, God. Now, did you, like... Do you know that these people did stuff, or are you just going out and beating people? I mean, have you, like, confirmed these crimes? What am I talking about? It's the Middle Ages. Why would they ever confirm crimes? Well, it's Game of Thrones.
It was an unprecedented roundup of criminals of every ilk. Your brother...
Ugh, don't say ilk.
We installed Prince Daemon as commander to promote law and order. The
Good
criminal
job.
element should fear the City Watch.
Thank you for your support, Lord Corliss.
If only the prince would show the same devotion to his lady wife as he does his work, Your Grace.
Oh!
She's not been seen in the Vale or at Runestone.
Enforce my laws, but understand. Any further performances like last night's will be answered.
Understood, Your Grace.
Sure it will. Man, I don't see Viserys as being, well, he seems like all bark, no bite, you know? Daemon is definitely more bite than bark. And that's the second part of Game of Thrones.
Queen Emma has begun her labors. May the luck of the Seven shine upon all combatants.
Well, I hope things work out for her. I get this strange feeling it won't. Choosing his relative, I forgot what the relation was. Oh boy. Oh! You lost your stick. He's still on though. And round 2. Whoa! Did he go for the horse? That's kind of a dick move, Daemon. But he's the prince, he's allowed to make dick moves. Oh. They're delivering the baby. What? Oh, what happened there? Whoa!
And the day grows ugly.
Oh god, they're just having a fight. Oh! Oh! Is this part of the... What's happening? Is she okay? What's going... Hold on. Like 8 things are happening.
There is a chance that we can save the child. A technique is taught at the Citadel which involves cutting directly into the wound to free the infant. But the resulting blood loss...
7 house bells.
Yeah, it would kill her.
We must either act now or leave it with the gods.
Yo, but what if you go through all this and it ain't... You're still banking on a son.
They're going to bring the babe out now. I love you.
He made the choice. Oh god. Wait, is that... Is he still... Oh, nope. He tried to save it. Oh, well, he's good. Oh, they're both good. He lost his shield. He's putting up a decent fight. Ugh. Well. Oh! You turned your back! Woo! She's dead. Oh, look at him. He's handsome. He looks like Jake Gyllenhaal.
Congratulations, Your Grace. You have a son.
It's a boy.
A new heir, Your Grace.
Well...
Had you and the Queen chosen a name?
Balon.
Balon. Oh. It didn't work. Oh shit, she has to say it.
Dracarys!
Just gonna put nope next to Balon.
I named Daemon Master of Laws, but you said he was a tyrant. As Master of Coin, you said he was a spendthrift that would beggar the realm. Putting Daemon in command of the City Watch was your solution.
A half measure, Your Grace. The truth is, Daemon
never
should be
never do a
far
half
away
measure.
from
What are you
his
doing?
Daemon is my brother. Please.
Ah, he's there.
Daemon has ambition, yes, but not for the throne. He lacks the patience for it.
The gods have yet to make a man who lacks the patience for absolute power, Your Grace.
No.
Under such circumstances, it would not be an aberration for the king to name a successor.
Well, who else would have a claim?
The princess.
But the queen who never was.
Rhaenys was the only child of Jaehaerys' eldest son. She had a strong claim at the Great Council, and she already has a male
Just
heir.
moments ago, you announced your support for Daemon.
If we cannot agree on an heir, then how can we
My
expect a
wife and
ransom?
son are dead! I will not sit here and suffer crows that come to feast on their corpses!
Shit. I mean, you gotta give the man some time to mourn.
I thought you might go to him. Offer him comfort.
In his chambers.
Are we talking, like, strictly
You might wear
talking,
one
or?
of your mother's dresses.
Okay, maybe not. I don't think we're strictly talking about talking. The dude's mourning. Like...
What is it, Alicent?
I thought I might come and look in on you, Your Grace. I brought a book.
Very nervous.
Very kind, thank you.
The gods give just as the gods take away.
He toasted Prince Balon,
The king's son.
styling him the heir for a day.
Damn.
Did you say it?
I don't know what you mean.
You will address me as Your Grace, or I will have my Kingsguard cut out your tongue.
Oh, shit. He's pissed.
I have decided to name a new heir.
I'm your heir.
Not anymore.
Oh, shit.
You are to return to Runestone and your lady wife at once. And you are to do so without quarrel. By order of your king.
Ugh. Oh, man. Welcome to the conflict of the season. Oh. He cut himself again. So, he is the dragon. feel like that should determine succession, by the way.
When you look at the dragons, what do you see?
I suppose I see us.
Tell me.
Do you bleed?
Everyone says Targaryens are closer to gods than to men. But they say that because of our dragons. Without them, we're just like everyone else.
The idea that we control the dragons is an illusion.
I mean, yeah.
They're a power man should never have trifled with. One that brought Valyria its doom. If we don't mind our own histories, it will do the same to us. Targaryen must understand this to be king. Or queen. And just as Daenerys foresaw the end of Valyria, Aegon foresaw the end of the world of men. Just to begin with a terrible winter, gusting out of the distant north.
Rickon Stark, Lord of Winterfell.
Aegon saw absolute darkness riding on those winds, and whatever dwells within will destroy the world of the living. When this great winter comes, Rhaenyra, all of Westeros must stand against it. And if the world of men is to survive, a Targaryen must be seated on the Iron Throne. A king or queen. Aegon called his dream the Song of Ice and Fire. I, Viserys Targaryen, first of his name, King of the Andals and the Rhoynar and the First Men, Lord of the Seven Kingdoms and Protector of the Realm, do hereby name Rhaenyra Targaryen, Princess of Dragonstone and heir to the Iron Throne.
Oh, shit. Oh, that music, though. Alrighty. It's interesting they didn't have a standard, I guess, sort of opening. Okay, looks like we've got stuff after? That may just be like a... Yeah, that's a preview, so we're just gonna cut it there. And if I'm wrong, we'll just come back to it some other time. We'll come back to it next week. Alright. Okay. Wow. That was a lot to put in one episode. I mean, what was that? That was about an hour 5? That's decent length, honestly. Holy moly. You really just gotta get in there with all the characters, you know? But, yeah, that was good. That was good. I enjoyed it. Actually. Alright, we've got notes that we're gonna cover in a sec. I'm gonna bust out my laptop, and I'm gonna look at some of the cast on this. I mean, Matt Smith I already know, but I'm very curious about Viserys. There. Try not to make too much noise when I put this down, so I will be a second. We'll just cut ahead to when I look these people up, so. Well, there's not too many for me to look up, but yeah, I looked up was it Paddy Considine and Emma Darcy. Unfortunately, I don't recognize them from anything. Rhys Ifans as Otto Hightower. I mean, at least I know him from Amazing Spider-Man, I guess. Everyone else, I mean, Graham McTavish, I already know him. He's been on The Witcher. He was the voice of Dracula. Okay, now that's her, right? Okay. The girl playing Alicent, I'm pretty sure this is her, but for some reason they specify young Alicent. I don't know why they do that. It's the same person, I'm pretty sure. I don't know what that's about, but hold on. Am I looking at this correctly? I don't think I am. Because there's also, Millie Alcock, who plays young Princess Rhaenyra Targaryen. But is she not Rhaenyra? Why is there a separate person? Hold on, I'm confused. I don't understand this cast list. So they're both listed as the young version of them. There's no other version. There's no other person cast as Alicent Hightower. But there's another person as Rhaenyra. Okay, I don't know how any of that works, and I'm not going to put too much thought into that. Alright, put the laptop away, and we're going to come back to the notes. I don't understand how any of that works. If there's something I'm clearly missing, then y'all can yell at me in the comments, so... Okay. That was a lot. Boy, they are banking on you watching Game of Thrones. Because, it makes sense that, well, because this is a prequel, you should have seen Game of Thrones. It's the same thing of, well, you can't really, you sort of can, but you can't really watch Better Call Saul without watching Breaking Bad. You can try. The thing about a prequel, though, is it should stand on its own, you know? But I guess it's also the same thing of, like, the Star Wars prequels. Like, they don't really ease you into episode 1 is just, alright, Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon, Jedi, go. Go, we got Trade Federation stuff. But episode 4 is the one that eases you into, hey, here's this world, here's space, here's the Empire, here's, this thing called the Jedi, and Luke is going to become a Jedi, Like, Phantom Menace expects you to already know this, and the same thing goes here, Like, which that was kind of weird, that it's like, okay, we're going to have an intro, we're going to narrate the intro. I don't get this. We're going to narrate the intro, where it's like, hey, here's the backstory. We had King, whatever his name was, and he, I guess didn't have an apparent heir, so he named Viserys as his heir, and now here we go. And Viserys is Rhaenyra's father, and all right, that's what you gotta get out of that, and also Princess Rhaenys. That doesn't sound right. I'll get. The Targaryen names are a bit complicated. There's no one on this show named Jon Snow anymore. You remember how simple Jon Snow was? Yeah, we don't have that anymore. It's all the Targaryens and all their complicated names. But so they do that. So we got that little bit of narration at the beginning, but then they put text on the screen. And that's a weird choice. Like, I feel like you should have one or the other, Like, I don't see why. Like, there's no reason you can't, because obviously the beginning was narrated by Rhaenyra. So I don't know why you couldn't just have Rhaenyra keep saying that. Honestly, I don't even know why you needed that. Like, we'll kind of know the premise going into this, that this is 200 years before Game of Thrones. So I don't know why we needed that text saying, hey, just so you guys remember, it's 172 years before Daenerys Targaryen is born. Like, okay, cool. And we're going to kind of come back to that a little later with the Dark Winter, but we'll come back to that. Other than that, minor point, minor little, like, it's kind of a weird thing, but other than that, again, minor thing, barely even a criticism, so whatever. So yeah, we've got the old king who passed, so his oldest living relative was Princess Rhaenys. It still doesn't sound right saying that. But his closest male relative was Prince Viserys, the original Viserys, presumably on which Daenerys' brother Viserys was eventually named. So, but this is the original Viserys the First Targaryen. And so yeah, so he was chosen, and that's the whole thing of, oh, well, They did this so that there wouldn't be a war, which I honestly thought that they were going to be like, oh, well, and then a war broke out. But they're setting that up, obviously, for this story. Because a war is going to break out. Because of the sort of, I guess, sort of faulty, or the shaky succession that we now have, where Rhaenyra will now be the successor, heir to the Iron Throne, and Prince Daemon is going to, presumably, Prince Daemon is going to be our sort of villain, you know? And who knows? Who knows? Maybe they'll reveal that, oh, it was all a part of his plan or something. I don't know. I mean, I guess that's sort of the question is, did the child, Balon, did he die because of something that Daemon did? Or did that just happen, you know? It could have been that if Balon had survived, that Daemon would have done something anyway, you know? Maybe it was just, hey, cut out the middleman, he didn't need to do it. And boy, did they cut out the middleman. In a very literal sense of the term. Goodness. So, yeah. Yeah. So, there's that. Okay, so, a lot of stuff to think about. So, Princess Rhaenyra, who may or may not be played by one person or another. Maybe there'll be like a time skip. I have no idea why. That cast list is confusing me. And it's the same. The cast list is here, too. It lists, I guess, both people as her. I don't know. I'm not going to think about that too heavily. So. Okay, so. We have Princess Rhaenyra. We've got Prince Daemon. And they are now, I'm sure, going to be clashing. Daemon, who is a bit of a hooligan amongst the Targaryens, which is interesting. So yeah, he's kind of the hooligan, like, oh, he's going out, he's doing all these terrible things, and even when they give him the city watch, it's just, it doesn't help, you know? He's still doing crap. So that's all very interesting. And then, yeah, we've got, I will say, I like Viserys. I think he's a very interesting character right off the bat. Because, you know, at first it's like, okay, this is not, you know, our sort of, you know, iron, you know, strong king, you know, our strong monarch that we kind of came to get used to. Like Robert Baratheon, you know, we kind of had that, but he didn't really, you know, there wasn't enough times to do that. He was just sort of a, you know, he's a hardy guy. But, you know, when we had then our sort of war of succession, basically, where, you know, we had all these sort of, you know, iron fist sort of rulers, you know, Cersei was definitely a good example. Stannis, maybe not so much Ned Stark, but once you get into the Boltons and stuff, you know, it's like, and then eventually getting around to Daenerys in the 5 seconds she was queen, but yeah, like with Viserys, you know, you meet this guy and it's like, okay, this is the guy, like, things are good for him, you know? Things are good for him. He didn't have a war of succession with Princess Rhaenys. I can't... That doesn't sound right, you know? Hold on. I guess we can go back and listen to the voice. Like, what did they say her name was?
Rhaenys, a woman.
Rhaenys. Okay, not Rhaenys. Rhaenys. I gotta try to remember that. Because Rhaenys did not sound right. Alright, Rhaenys. Excuse me. Sorry. Also, how old is Rhaenyra supposed to be? Hang on.
Would not inherit the Iron.
Well, okay. Actually, because I was gonna say, they show in that shot that, his wife, Emma, is pregnant, but they do mention she has had many failed pregnancies. So actually, let me...
Rhaenys, a woman, would not inherit the Iron Throne. The Lords instead chose Viserys.
Wait, that's not even... Wait.
My father.
Oh. Oh. Okay. That is clearly not Rhaenyra, or at least the actress Rhaenyra. That is not Rhaenyra narrating, not that actress. That probably explains it, is that the narrator is an older Rhaenyra, which is an interesting choice. Okay, so I guess that's it. I don't know why they have young Alicent, too. I don't know, but...
To prevent a war being fought over his succession. For he knew the cold truth. The only thing that could tear down the House of the Dragon was itself.
Which I guess you could say is, it's foreshadowing for this show. It's also slightly foreshadowing of Game of Thrones, considering Jon Snow was also Targaryen. Alright. It is now the 9th year of King Viserys I Targaryen's reign. So it's 9 years later. Okay. So presumably Rhaenyra was already born. And the pregnancy there was one of the unfortunate failed pregnancies that Queen Aemma had. Okay. So... And okay, so that's what the whole cast list thing was that the narrator, at least at the beginning here, the narrator is presumably an older Rhaenyra. All right. And it's very interesting, again, that they have this narration, but then, text that pops up. It's now the 9th year of King Viserys I Targaryen's reign, 172 years before the death of the Mad King Aerys and the birth of his daughter, Princess Daenerys Targaryen. Alright then. Okay, so, as I was saying, Viserys is a very interesting character. Because again, you sort of see him as, well, he's kind of, he's not the strong king, and especially when compared to many of the other monarchs we saw in Game of Thrones, not just Daenerys, but looking at a lot of others. But I like that, because then throwing him into these really, difficult decisions and everything, I mean, it's very interesting to see how he deals with this. And the first, unfortunately, difficult choice he has is the choice of what to do with Aemma and their son. So yeah, but I do get a little bit ahead of myself. So yeah, so we had all that set up, which was really interesting, and we had. They also established too that, and I like this because I feel like other things wouldn't really talk about this, but if the whole point is to have a son, and it's like, well, we have our daughter and stuff, but I feel like not many things would be like, yeah, we friggin' tried. We've tried our friggin' damnedest, and they've had 5 failed pregnancies in 10 years, 5 failed pregnancies in 10 years, and, I mean, chalk this one up to number 6, unfortunately. So, yeah. So, that is just really interesting, just seeing that, and seeing how Viserys has to deal with that, It's like, he does have a, a beautiful, healthy daughter, Rhaenyra, but she is not a son, and... it's the Middle Ages, and yeah, that's also the thing that you look at with Game of Thrones. It's like, well, okay, think about our 3 female leaders, our 3 female rulers, Cersei, Daenerys, and Sansa. And all 3 of them, like, they basically have to take that power, Well, I mean, I guess... I don't even remember Sansa. Yeah, because I guess Jon Snow was King of the North for a while. Yeah, was she made queen at the end? I guess so. I don't know. But, alright, more to the point. Cersei and Daenerys, they became... they had to become these great rulers. They weren't just given it, basically. And yeah, with Cersei, granted, I guess she couldn't just be queen. She had to, well, not she had to, but her children basically had to die. Joffrey died. The girl died. I don't even remember her name. And then, I don't remember if that came before or after Tommen died. May have been like at the same time, basically. But yeah, so after that, then she was like, well, I don't have any Baratheon blood in me, but whatever, I'm going to be queen. And they were all just like, well, I guess what the hell are we going to do, you know? And Daenerys was kind of the same as like, look, after the death of her brother, you know, the death of her brother, who was not the dragon, then she really started to take charge, you know? And especially after the death of Khal Drogo, then she really just like, all right, I'm going to go do this. I'm going to go take back the land, you know, and be the good queen. And she did. Until the last second when she didn't, but we're not going to talk about that too much. So yeah, I mean, so it's an interesting thing. Like, yeah, you have this, you know, wonderful daughter already, but you need the son, according to the laws and the ancient stuff. And it was the same precedent from 9 years ago. That's why Viserys was king anyway. Viserys was king because he's got a dick. I shouldn't say little. I don't know. Man, I don't know anything about the guy, but he's got a dick. And Rhaenys doesn't. So yeah. But I also wrote down Viserys, all bark, no bite. Well, you gotta watch the man get a little bite, and that was interesting, you know? Because, yeah, a lot of that, it seemed like, well, yeah, he's got a lot of bark, and Daemon has the bite, you know? And that's really interesting to watch, and then to have him, you know, make these, you know, sort of decisions. And yeah, during the tournament, Emma started to give birth, but it wasn't working. And so they gave him a choice. Either, you know, let the gods decide and maybe slight % chance that they both make it, or you sacrifice her to get the son. And he made that choice, and he still didn't get anything out of it, you know? He made that choice, and Balon still died. And that, I mean, and it's interesting because they don't even like build that up too much. It's like, oh, congratulations, you have a son. It's like, oh, so, I mean, he has a son. And then it basically just hard cuts to the funeral, and it's like, oh, well then, like it basically plays with you because it shows the body of Emma first, and then pans down, and you're like, oh, well, you know, and it's like, I don't know, and I don't want to like, I hope I'm not like from my attitude in talking this, I hope I'm not like trivializing this, because it is a serious thing, but it's just one of those things. It's like, oh, well, what the hell, you know? It's like, you tricked me. You tricked me for a sec, but yeah, so he made that choice, and he still didn't get anything out of it, you know? And thus gives us the fight of succession. Although we also had the tournament, which was also interesting, and Daemon asking for Lady Alicent's favor. I already like Rhaenyra and Alicent, by the way. It's interesting because, you know, I guess, I don't know, I see Rhaenyra sort of being, I guess, the main character, but honestly, now that I'm kind of like looking back on all this stuff, it's like, boy, she didn't do too much in this episode. Like, this episode was heavily focused on Viserys, you know, and that's fine. I like that, you know. And now that we've had that, we will now have episodes focusing on the rise of Princess Rhaenyra, you know? Oh, these stupid names, though. But yeah. But I like her, and I like Lady Alicent. That was interesting. And I like that Sir Cole guy, Sir Kristen Cole from Dorne, and yeah, he beat Daemon in a fight. Like, we're gonna have to remember this, you know. Maybe they're sort of building up, like, you know, I guess if Rhaenyra will be queen, I mean, she will need an heir, whether boy or girl, she will need some sort of heir. So maybe they're trying to build up something with Sir Cole. But he beat Daemon in a fight. Granted, Daemon turned his back. He let his guard down. But still, he won that fight, which was interesting. And then, yeah, we have the whole thing of succession and Viserys mourning his wife. We also had the whole thing of Otto Hightower, which is a great name, by the way, sending in Alicent to comfort Viserys. That was kind of weird. Like, are we implying something there? Like, or is it literally just went to talk? Because that's the thing. It's like, if we're going for, like, you know, doing things, the man did just lose his wife and his newborn son. Like, I don't know, but then, like, the scene is just, well, she goes in, they talk, she has a book, you know. So I don't know. Like, I don't know if we were supposed to get, like, something else from that, if they did anything else, or maybe they didn't. Maybe that's me being optimistic. I have no idea how old Alicent is, you know. I don't know how old Rhaenyra is, you know. Granted, this is Game of Thrones. Age doesn't fully matter to some people in Game of Thrones, so I don't know. I want to be hopeful that they just had a nice chat in front of the model of King's Landing, I guess he's making. I guess the man has a hobby, at least. But now we have the whole thing of succession, and yeah, that whole thing, I gotta say, I do like that, because yeah, Viserys is going back and forth on Daemon, like, oh, well, he does kind of suck, but what else can I do, you know? And it's like, hey, you wanted to put him in charge of the City Watch, you know? So he's like, well, I don't know, he's got all this, but then, as soon as he hears that report that Daemon said to Prince Balon, heir for a day, nope, that drives him over the edge, and he completely strips away his right of succession, which is interesting. And I also like the interesting detail of Viserys cutting himself on the Iron Throne, which honestly, like, it kind of seems obvious. That Iron Throne is ridiculous, by the way. Like, that is way crazier than the Iron Throne in Game of Thrones. Like, did they lose, like, most of the swords at a point? Like, what happened there? I don't know. But I just love that it's just so much bigger and ridiculous. But I like that he actually cuts himself on the Iron Throne. I don't know. I'm sure you could read into that a bit. You know, maybe it's, oh, this guy, maybe he's not right for the Iron Throne or something like that. Or heck, you know, I guess it's just, you know, as we said, it's like, well, here's this guy, he's not really, you know, the strong king. Here's the guy who, he was made to be king, and he's just gonna enjoy some peace, you know? But I like that. I like that little detail that he's cutting himself on the Iron Throne, you know? But yeah, but he has named his new heir, Princess Rhaenyra, which was interesting. I also like how he holds his hand above the flame, and it seems that he isn't being burned. Now, I never thought about how the hell this dragon thing works, you know? But, I don't know, because Daenerys never had that. Well, I mean, Daenerys did, you know, she was unaffected by flames, and that was the whole thing when her brother Viserys died, that was the whole thing, that he burned by the scalding gold, you know? And that was the whole revelation of, like, oh, he is not the dragon because the dragon does not burn. And she didn't burn. But I don't know how this magical power works. If it is magic, I don't understand what it is, you know? So, Like, is it a thing that must be passed on or something? I have no idea, but it seemed to not hurt Viserys the First in this show. So I'm wondering if that then passes to Rhaenyra. No idea, but we'll find out. But yeah, but I like that talk too of, you know, people say that, oh, well, we are closer to the gods, but that's only because of our dragons. Without the dragons, we're just like anybody else, and that is true, you know? Which is basically how Viserys and Daenerys were for a while before Daenerys hatched her dragons, you know? So yeah, that was interesting. I also like Rhaenyra's dragon, and it's interesting that she had to be the one to light the funeral pyre. So does that mean Viserys doesn't have a dragon then? Is it just Rhaenyra and Daemon? I don't know. But yeah, but that was interesting. It's like, well, you know, yes, we have this great power, but we probably shouldn't have it. We probably should never have had it, and we have to respect this power with the dragons, you know? And it's something that every king needs to understand. And yeah, you can take a guess. Daemon doesn't respect that, but Rhaenyra does. So I like that. And then they bring up the Dark Winter. Is that supposed to just be a reference to Game of Thrones, or is that something that's going to happen on this show? I have no idea. Because from what it sounds like, oh, it's going to be this terrible winter that comes in from the north, and it's like, you mean the White Walkers? But I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, the backstory with the White Walkers is that happened thousands of years ago, not hundreds. And yeah, it's like, are they trying to allude to the war with the White Walkers in Game of Thrones? I have no idea. But yeah, maybe it will be something in this, like it's something else or something. I don't know. But I'm curious about that at least. Like, is that just a reference to Game of Thrones? Because if it is, what is Rhaenyra going to do about that, you know? Because clearly they weren't prepared. They clearly were not prepared, you know? Unless they're going to be setting something up about Daenerys. I mean, they do. I mean, right here in this opening, you know, it's like, oh, this is 100. They specify 172 years before the birth of Daenerys Targaryen. But still, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if that's supposed to go further in this story or not. But we'll see next week, pretty much. So yeah. So good first episode. A lot packed into it, and you definitely got to know your Game of Thrones if you're going to come into this. And that is the thing. It's like, I will say that while, yes, the same can be said about the Star Wars prequels, I think Better Call Saul does that really well, where it's like, you could watch this, and for the most part, you don't need to have seen Game of Thrones. You know? There's some stuff. There is some stuff where it's like, okay, well, if you knew Game of Thrones, you would understand more of this, you know? But at the same time, it's like a lot. You could probably watch Better Call Saul and get a decent understanding about what's happening without watching it. This is not the case. You really need to know Game of Thrones, especially House Targaryen, if you're going to understand this show. But luckily, I have seen Game of Thrones, so we're all good. But yeah, that is basically it. We will be back next week for episode 2. I'm pretty sure I got this out on Saturday, so look at me getting it out one day ahead of the next episode going up. But yeah, I'm a little slow. I'm slower than other YouTube channels, but hey, what can you do? But yeah, we'll be back next week for episode 2, and I'm excited to see where we're going in this story. But yeah, that is basically it. With all that being said, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. There's a bunch of links on screen if you want to go click around to any of those. There's a playlist for all of my House of the Dragon reactions, even though there's only one right now, but whatever. There's also a playlist for all of my Game of Thrones reactions if you want to go check any of those out. There's also a subscribe button and a Patreon button on screen, as well as other links in the description if you want to go check out any of those. See you guys later.